Okay, in this example, we already learned about the bar chart. So let's take a look on the code. So this is the HTML file, and we know that the HTML file contains of two big sections. The first is the head, and the other is the body. So the head section, we want to get the script. So in this case, we are going to load the Google chart. So this is the JavaScript in the Google. So if you take a look on this part, yeah, this is the JavaScript in the Google, I don't know, G static. Okay. So they share this JavaScript file so we can create the chart according to our own data. So this is only example. So we will take a look many examples. Here, the first is we want to load the Google the charts, okay, and we are going to load it into the current, okay, and we have the packages, and the packages name is core chart. Okay. So the core chart is the chart from the Google, okay, and we have a place to show. Okay, so in this case, we are going to place in the body section. So in the body section, we will have only one actually, which is container. So you can set the width, you can set the height. So in this case, I just define this one. You can change the width and the height. And now we need to access again this chart using the JavaScript. So the JavaScript, we need to call the chart by using one function, which is draw chart. So actually, you can define this function name as you want, but commonly we just use the draw chart. So let's see later what we can do with this one. We have the data. So this is the variable and the data. And we have array to data table. So this is one example what we can do with the array. So if you still remember in the array section in the JavaScript, we always use the square bracket. Okay. And I don't want to review many things, but if you learn from Java, the idea of this array is similar. So if we have two-dimensional array, then we can have the big square root, big square bracket like this one, and then this will indicate the first row, and then comma, we can have the second row, and then comma, we can have the third row, okay, and so on. So it means we will have three different rows, and for every row, we can have the separator with comma. So in this case, we have the first column, we have the second column, and then we have the third column, year, Asia, and Europe. And this will be the first data. So the first line will be the header. And the first is the data, the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Then we have 5 data, and each of the data represents according to the attribute in the column. So this is the year, and for example, we have 900 population, and we have 390 population. So maybe this one is okay, population in millions. So with this kind of data, and then we want to create the title. After we have the data, after we have the options, so we want to create the chart. What is the chart here? So we want to use the Google visualization dot, yeah, you can specify what is the chart that you want to use. So first you need to define the data, and then let's say if you want to make a title, yeah, that's also fine. And you need to make the chart, or you need to call the chart. And in this chart, I want to put the chart into the container. What is the container? Here is the container. So if I have the chart, I would like to put in this div. And after I have the chart, I would like to draw the chart. So the drawing chart is based on the data. So it is mandatory. Okay, so if you don't have the data, then you will not be able to show the chart. Options, it is not mandatory. So it is optional. So if you want to put the title, or if you want to put more and information about the chart, then you can also put that one. So this is one function. So this is one function. And after we have this function, we need to call the function. Okay. How we got the function is we use the Google.charts and set on load callback. We call the function. So this is the function. So it means when whatever you define the function name, yeah, if you call here, then yeah, it will work. So don't care about the function name, as long as you know how to call your function. Okay, I think this is not that complex. Okay, so you understand how to, for example, here you use the data and then define the chart and then put the chart into your HTML file. So I put the step by step here. Okay. So the first is, yeah, we load the chart library. So this is the chart library. We want to load. We use the core chart. Yeah, this is from the Google itself. So I just use the Google chart here. So you need to load the current. So the current means the current version of the chart, I guess. And there are some packages. So maybe in the next example, we will see another packages. And then you need to define the data. Okay. So as I mentioned to you, the data that we use in this first example is using the array. It can be also used as the data table. So we will check another example. Yeah, so the data table contains of several statements. Okay, so if we have this data table, if we use the data table, we need to define the column and we need to define the row. The other way is using the array to data table. So this is the example that we already see before, but the data table, yeah, is something different. So we will check another example. So in this kind of data table, you need to add a column. Yeah, so for example, in the column, you have the string and browser, and then you want to add another column, for example, number and percentage. Oh, maybe I think we need to only have one. Okay, let's see another example later. Yeah, the second way to define the data is using the array data structure. So the array data structure, we will make all the things with the square bracket like this one. So it is in the form of array. Some of the charts may use JSON or they use JavaScript plus JSON, or you need to define the GeoJSON. Geo means the geography, so it means the map. So we need to define the latitude and longitude. So we need to check this one as well. So I will also give the example about this GeoJSON. So we need to understand how to customize the charts. In our example, it's very easy to have the charts because we just define the title. But we can also do with other kind of information. For example, yeah, you want to define the width, you want to define the height, or you want to make it as a 3-dimension. So some charts, they make this kind of things possible. So you need to understand. That's why the in this kind of chart, okay, so you need to check. Usually the API, they have like the information like this one. So they have the configuration options. Okay. For example, if you have the aggregation target, what does it mean? Oh, we have like 4 variables: the category, series, auto, known. So you need to check one by one, because in Google, they have a different way for this option. And if you go with another kind of framework, for example, you use the D3, okay, so D3 is another framework, D3.js. So this is also another kind of framework to show your data in the visualization. For example, I want to use this. Okay, so this is the visualization. Yeah, if you use this one, it is different. So now you can see we are using array with the JSON, and then they use like the object, and they use like the key and value. So it is the same with the dictionary in Python. Okay. The different framework, they have different way to define the data keyword. Okay. So for example, let's just click another. So this kind of tree map. Okay, so you can define this one, and then you will see there are many statements to make one beautiful visualization. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, maybe we cannot go through all those examples. So I will just give you the basic idea, and I will give you the hint. So if you want to use another kind of library, you will have some idea. Okay, I need to check this one, or I need to do this part. I need to forget about that part, and etc. Okay, so yeah, the last part is we need to draw the charts. So the chart is different based on the type of the chart. For example, if I want to draw pie chart, then you need to use pie chart. If you use the bar chart, then you want to show it as the bar chart. And yeah, you want to put it into the container. So in this case, I have the container that I define. And then, yeah, as I explained to you, we need to have one data to show the visualization. And the option is just showing like the title or the size. So the charts, if you draw the charts in Google, they used one library per chart. It is in Google, but if you use another kind of library, maybe you need to check what kind of packages name they use. So other chart may require additional or different packages. Let's say if you use the pie chart and bar chart, both of them are in the core chart package, and you need to load at the first time. However, if you want to use a different chart, for example, tree map, yeah, the one that I just explained is tree map. And oh, sorry, the one that I just showed you before, this one, this is, yeah, we call this is tree map. Yeah. So this tree map, it is not in the Google chart. So it is in the D3. So the result is a little bit different. But yeah, the idea is the same. Let's say if you want to use the tree map in Google and you want to use the geo chart, then yeah, you need to load the tree map or you need to load the geo map. So it is very customized. So there are many types of charts. I cannot explain one by one. So let's just figure out some of them. The next, I would like to explain about bubble chart. What is bubble chart? Okay. The same way with the bar chart, we need to make a new method. Okay. And you need to create a new URL. And then you need to create HTML file. Okay. So for example, let's just copy and paste this one. Add function view bubble in the views.py. So we have the view bubble, and then we will run the view bubble.html, and then let's make a new link. So this is the link. So we want to show it into the link in the view bubble.html, and then let's make a new HTML file, view bubble.html. And yeah, you can copy this code, and then you will have the new HTML file, view bubble. Okay, so let's see. We want to show view bubble. So this is the bubble chart. So in this bubble chart, if you move your mouse here, okay, you will see that, okay, this is information about one person. So his age is 11. Okay, maybe this is the age. And his weight is 14. Maybe this in the kilogram. Okay. So using this visualization, you can easily distinguish that when the person age is high, the weight is also getting high. And there is a significant increment on the weight when the person is from 7 years old until 12 years old. Okay, so it's significant increment. So let's take a look on the code. Okay, what is the meaning by the code? I guess it is the same. Okay, so you just load from the Google, and then you use the core chart packages. Okay, and you have the div, which is in the container. Now let's take a look on this data. Okay, we have 3 columns. Oh, okay. Yeah, now I understand this one. We have 3 columns. The first column is ID. And the ID is in the data type of string. The second column is age. And the age is number. And the third column is weight. and it is also number. So basically, yeah, we know that in JavaScript there are at least two data types. Maybe you can also have another data type like Boolean, okay? But two common data types are string and number. And we can define those here, whether they are string or numbers, and we can define the column name, ID, age, and weight. So after we define the column, we want to add the row. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 data. And the first column is the name, or yeah, we call it, this is ID. And the second column is the age, and the third column is the weight. And then again, we have options. So in this option, we just have the title. And okay, I define width and height. So you can adjust this one. For example, you want to change this one at 850 and the height is 400. So the chart will be bubble chart. So if the data structure is the same, you can have multiple charts. Easily just define what kind of charts you want to use. If they are in the same package, so for example, in the bar chart, the bar chart is also using the same package, so you can define easily. So here, just bubble chart container, and then you define with the draw. You want to draw the data with this data and options. Okay, and let's see if okay, now it's getting bigger. Okay. Now my question is, can we change this one into bar chart? If I change this into bar chart, what happens? Yes, they automatically change according to the data. Okay. Maybe it's difficult for you to understand this visualization. Yeah, sometimes we need to very wise to choose the function for this kind of visualization. What is the best visualization for representing one of our data? Okay. Now let's move to this another example. If I want to change with pi, basically the idea is the same. We need to use the view pi. For example, this is the function in the let me just give you this one. I want to use different data, okay, because later I will also use this one to make the comprehensive website. Okay. So let's make this view pi, and then I need to make the path view pi, and then I need to create the HTML file. So we have new HTML file view pi. The first part is the same. Okay, so we use the core chart, as I mentioned to you, by pie chart, bar chart. They share the same packages, and we have the div container, and then we have the JavaScript. So we have this data, and now we have the data table with two columns. The first column is browser, and the second column is percentage. So this is the data type. The first is string, and the second is number. And then you will have this data. This is the rows. The first row, second row, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So let's say I'm explaining this one. The first data is Firefox, and there are 45% of the user use Firefox. Internet Explorer, 26.8%, and so on. So the options, okay, I would like to put one more. Okay, so like this one. If I change to title with head and is 3D true, and it means I can see something in the 3 dimension maybe. In the chart, yeah, it is the same. We want to visualize, and in this case, I would like to use pie chart. And the pie chart will be placed into the container, and we want to draw it. So let's see if I use this pie, then okay, this is with the 3-dimension chart. Okay. So if you want to try, of course, you can try like in the view bar. You want to make okay, I want to see whether I can make the 3D in this bar. Okay, so I will just try with view bar. There is no effect. Okay, so some of them there's no effect. Of course, you need to check whether they have the 3D or not. Okay? Maybe not this bar chart, but another kind of chart like stack bar chart. They are available with the 3D. Okay. Or maybe I need to define with the height and width. So maybe it is kind of okay. So the bar chart is not available with the 3D. That's why you need to find out the library and the explanation and what is the configuration. Okay, that's about Google chart. Yeah. It's not difficult to understand the Google chart, but now I would like to explain more about the other kind of chart. For example, you think that, yeah, I want to use another library. So in this case, I would like to use high chart. Okay, so what is high chart? I can show you the high chart. So you can take a look on the website, okay, and you can find various kind of framework. For example, yeah, you can see the demo here. Let's say one of your team is trying to show the what is it, the COVID-19 data. Okay. So it means you want to plot. Maybe you need to use this kind of line. Okay. So you think that, okay, this is very good to represent, for example, this is in the Sochoku, this is in the Mapoku, and then this is in the Junggu, for example. So you can see the difference between who or the districts in one period. Okay. So this kind of chart, yeah, you can see how they define this JavaScript. Okay. And as you can see, they are different with the Google chart. So you need to adopt with this kind of changes, and you need to find out one by one. For example, this is the high chart, and then you want to put the chart in the container, and then the chart type is SP line, and there's title, subtitle, x-axis, y-axis, and etc. Okay. So I do not want to use this one, but let's use one high chart that I will explain here. For example, this is an example to show you in the dynamic data. So what is the dynamic data? So I use one of the chart in the high chart. Again, we will have the three things. Okay, so the first is make in the views, and then second, make the URL, and then create the HTML. So in the views.py, let's make view dynamic. So we have view dynamic, and then let's make a new link. Okay, let's make a new link. Oh, why is view file? Oh, sorry. I guess I do the wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. There's something wrong with this one. I think you need to put one more link. View dynamic. Okay, sorry. You need to have a view dynamic. Yeah, I missed this one. So you need to run the view dynamic to run this one. And yeah, please maintain the name. Maybe I will need it for next week. Okay. Okay, after you have this, okay, let me just copy and paste, and then I will update the e-class list. Okay, update this one. Okay, so we have the view dynamic. Okay, and then let's make a new HTML, view dynamic.html. And then replace the existing code with the code that I put in the PowerPoint. And you can see that it is longer than the Google chart. So let's see one by one. Okay. Now let's run. What will be the result with the view dynamics? Okay. So this is almost a real-time chart. Okay. So you will have data, and once you got the data, you want to show it into the web. So how will you be able to do this one? So whenever there's a new data, then you can see also the data. And then it is a dynamic adaptation with the size. Okay, let's see the code. Uh, Different framework will have different JavaScript. So you need to find out what is the structure of that framework. In this high charts, we need to use the jQuery, and yeah, there's one source code about the high chart. So the charts, the framework, okay, they provide their own JavaScript. Google, they have the Google JavaScript. High charts, they have the high chart JavaScript, and so on. So we use the high chart.js, and then we have the div container. Yeah, this is the place to show the result. And then this is the JavaScript. Okay, so you can see here. Yeah, this is very complex. Let's try to figure out some of the key point. Okay, I will not use every statement, but let's see the important point. For example, you know this one. Once the document is ready, it means once you already call the page, you will use the variable chart. In the variable chart, you will use the key and value, or similar to the dictionary. We want to define what kind of chart. This chart is the SP line. And then we want to animate. So the animation, it will be based on the highchart.svg. So SVG is the one of the file. It is based on the factor. So we have the factor. I cannot explain the detail, but this is for the animation. And this is provided in this JavaScript. So we do not know what is behind of these high charts. If you use the IE or Internet Explorer, yeah, it will not animate. So for example, let me try. If you use Microsoft Edge, I guess it works. But if you use this Internet Explorer, oh, it works. And they already update with the new version. Okay. And then the margin, yeah, just show about the left and right. How big is the size? One. And then event. So we have this event to determine about what we will do when we show the chart. So for example, this is the time series. And the time series is start from the 0, okay, and then it will have the interval. And the interval will be like 1000. So 1000 is 1 second. So it is 1000 milliseconds. 1000 milliseconds means 1 second. And for every 1 second, let's get the time. So it is the current time. So you will see like this one, 11:40, and then we have another 5 seconds. Now it becomes 11:09:50, and so on. And we have y as random. So the x is the time and the y is random. So the x is the time and y is random value. And once we have the random value, we want to put it into the series. The series will be a method. There will be a method add point. Okay? So we want to add x comma y. So we have x and we have y. We want to put it into the x and y, and then true and true. So this is the parameter defined in the high chart. So you need to find out the library, and you need to check the dictionary in the high charts. Maybe you need to define the title, and then you need to define the x-axis. You need to define the y-axis. Now you can see the color or the width or the value you can change. Now the color maybe is blue. So you can change that one. Tooltip. So whenever you do this one, if you move your mouse here, so you will see the information like the time and the y. It is 0.7. This one is 0.6, 0.89, 0.9. Okay. And then let's say this lowest one is 0.07. Okay. Now, if you take a look on this one, the tooltip is the box you want to show the formatter here means the function that you want to show in the box. Yeah, the series name, and you want to show the date format, and you want to show the Y. Okay, so it means you want to show the X and you want to show Y, and you want to show only two. So two means only two decimals. Okay, so they have this kind of definition, and of course it is different with the Google. That's why they have the class iCharts. And the other kind of option like this one, yeah, they want to put into this area, and in that area, you can put the symbol as the circle and the radius. So maybe the circle radius is 2. And then when you hover, so hover means you move the mouse, okay, then you can see that one, legend. So there is no legend because it is false. Exporting, you cannot export to another kind of file because it is false. And then the series, yeah, this is a kind of variable. You need to define that it is a random data. And then what you need to do here is to make a new data, and the data is starting from blank, and then you will have time. So every time you have a new date, and if you have new time, oh sorry, when you have new time, you will put it into one series I. So this is the for loop. Yeah, every time you have the new data, push into the series. So this is the series that you will use here. Okay, so this is the series that you will use with this kind of series. And yeah, after you have this one, you will return the data, so you will be able to show it into the the visualization. And at the end, yeah, you need to define based on the JSON. So this is the JSON of the high chart. Of course, it will be different with the different chart. So you have chart, title, tooltip, X, Y, legend, export, series, plot. And then whenever you want to put it into the container, yeah, you have this kind of command. So you will do the high charts, and then set options. We have the global. So the setting, it can be like the time. Okay, so set UTC. UTC is the universal time conversion. Because we are not using the UTC time, we are using the Seoul time, so we set the false. And then you can have this the high chart. You want to show it in the container. So the container is the div, and then you want to put the data. The data is in the format of JSON. Okay. So that's why you will see this chart. And because we are using the high chart, you will see there's a mark here. So it is the highchart.com. So if you click this one, you will go to high chart. So if you want to delete that mark, then you need to pay some money in order to make your chart more clean. There is no brand like this one. Okay, and then we can also do with another kind of chart. We have the multiple data set. Okay, so in this case, I will use another kind of library, which is mchart. What is mchart? See. So mcharts is also the JavaScript for maps and charts. Yeah. So you can buy, or you can just reuse for some of the parts. You can see there are many clients, they use this mchart. Yeah. Yeah, if you use this, or maybe just go to the demo. So you will see, yeah, they are very good. So for example, yeah, this one, they provide the coronavirus animated dashboard. So they can show you about the data in this kind of geography part or the map part. Yeah. So this is the number of active and then the number of confirmed, recovered, and deaths. And yeah, you can see how can you use this full dashboard. And then yeah, they give you the code, how to reuse this code, and you put it into your web page. So now you can see it's more complex. Okay, in order to make one very good data visualization, yeah, you need a lot of efforts to make this one. So there are many things that you can have in this. Yeah, for example, this is another kind of chart. So yeah, this is another kind of chart. So that's why if you use the Google chart, it means it's very simple. But nowadays there are many companies, they try to make many different kind of data visualization, and you can use it for your purpose. Okay. So let's just try with very simple chart. So I will again put in the view. I will have the view multiple, and then I have the link. Ah, sorry. I don't know why I didn't update this one. So let's make a new link. Yeah, if you don't want to make the link and then you want to change, yeah, that's also fine. Okay, maybe it will be easier for you. For example, you want to change only the HTML file, yeah, that's also fine. But I want to do this one for next part. We can have some idea why we need to have this one, because maybe in your project you will have a lot of link also, and you need to define later. So let's make a new HTML file, view multiple .html, and then use this one. Now it is longer than before, okay? And it depends on this chart. So let's see. We want to view multiple. So if you have like several data and you want to show it at once and you want to compare. So yeah, this chart provides you very comprehensive data. So this is the time, okay? And then yeah, you want to compare the first data set, the second data set, the fourth, the third, okay? And then you can have the range, and then you can make the zoom. So for example, you want to have 1 month data, or you want to have 1 year data, or you want to find the year to date, or you want to get only the maximum. So this kind of things, yeah, it's very fancy. And if you need this one, yeah, you can use it in your data visualization. Oh, okay. I guess the time is already the finishing time for our class. I will explain a little bit about this code on Monday. Okay. And I think, okay then. Any questions?